Hey guys, it's me again, and welcome back to my podcast, The Journey. Today we're going to be talking about the word courage, the ability to do something that breeds mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. Today I come again from the beautiful province of KZN in the Drakensberg Mountains, and I just want to talk about courage because there's a few courageous things that we did in this place. And some people call it courage and some people call it calculated stupidity. Some of the things we did, definitely calculated stupidity. And others, they call us risk takers. Others call us trendsetters. So one thing you should always know is you'll never be a trendsetter without courage. And that's what I'm going to talk about in today's podcast. Flow with me. My name is Tindanya Mayaro, and welcome to my podcast, The Journey. All right, so we're back again, talking about courage, which in my case can also be called calculated stupidity. Anyway, so these are the names and words that I've gathered from a lifetime of trying new things, failing at some, succeeding at others, getting hurt whilst doing that stupidity, celebrating wins, receiving awards, and also being looked at as a crazy person. Like, guys, if you know me, you know that I'm adventurous. It doesn't take much to convince me to go and do something, but I'm getting a bit older, so some of these things that I used to do, don't think I can do those no more. I kind of need to settle down and find peace. So anyway, in my life, I've known nothing but courage. Courage that had to be forced into actions and not necessarily volunteered into. Did I have a problem with it? Not really. I'm a last born child. Not spoiled. Pretty cool, I think. I think everybody else that knows me would kind of agree with that statement. Anyway, that's for those of you who are wondering, by the way. And I'm the kind that comes with adventurous spirit. At times with the things I do, I know my mom has had to have deeper and longer prayers than what most moms have to go through. And at the same time, she had the joy of bragging to other parents that her son has done A, B, C, and D and hasn't lost a leg or his life. I'm still intact, still cool. Maybe a few mental issues here and there. No, I'm joking. I'm still good. For some odd reason, I've never been afraid to try something new. I haven't had the fear of being on new ground or, starting afresh. If anything, those kind of things, they actually excite me. It gives me this whole blank page, new page mentality, and knowing that I can rewrite or add to my story, type of situation. And I've always said to myself, try something once. If you don't like it, then you don't have to do it again. But always try something at least one time. I'm not one to live with ifs or what ifs. I always want to know how is this going to go, and I'm going to try it. If it fails, then it's a lesson learned. If it's a win, then boom, we've got an extra gold star to put on my forehead, type of situation. But I always say, let me give something my best shot. And sometimes let's see where it lands me. And certain things have landed me in the greatest places in life. And certain things have landed me in the worst case scenarios. So it's always a 50-50. That's why I say courage can also be called calculated stupidity. Because sometimes it can land you in hot water. So you always have to have a nudge of wisdom and knowing the pros and cons of the decisions and the leaps that you're about to take. So calculate it, be courageous, don't be afraid of stuff, but don't do something that's gonna mess your life up. Okay. And always, if you do get into a point where you've taken 10 steps into something and you can see that the rest of this journey is going to lead to danger, it's okay to turn back. It's okay to say no. It's okay to stop. And it's okay to say, look, I've made a mistake. I'm sorry. Sometimes you may hurt people along the line. I've hurt people along the line. It's okay to say, I'm sorry. It's okay to turn back and say, look, I made a big mistake. Go back. Start again. Sometimes don't even go back because it's a lesson learned. Just take a new road, you know. So yeah, courage is good, but have the ability as well to know when to stop. Okay. Whoa. So today, the crust of my story, or the heartbeat of my story, is talking about the time that I left for Cape Town. Just a little bit of history. So from Zim, I left and I was in Botswana for a bit. Then from Botswana, I stayed in, I think I spoke about this in my first podcast. I stayed in Namibia. From Namibia, I went to the States. From the US, I came back to Johannesburg, South Africa, stayed with my brother there for a bit. And then I left and went to Cape Town. So let's take that flight to January 15th, 2018, when I relocated to Cape Town, South Africa. And crazy enough, arrived there with 350 Rand in my pocket. Guys, 350 Rand is like, if $1 currently is about 18, you're looking at about 20 bucks. That's at like 360 Rand, so about 20 US dollars. That's what I had in my pocket when I landed in Cape Town. Landed, not got to my destination, the place I was going to be staying. Landed. Woo! One acoustic guitar that came from my brother as a birthday present, still have it, and one suitcase of clothes. When you read my book, watch my vlogs about the Triple Cliff story, you'll know about the ups and downs of that journey. This date right here was a part of a down or stagnant moment, but at the same time was about to begin the best up of my life. I had left the United States of America the previous year in August, and flew to my brother in Johannesburg to help with teaching music at the church he was attending at the time. That journey really did not start, So, anyway, the state story is a whole different podcast. But anyway, I got to Joburg, and I was supposed to help teaching people at the church how to play different instruments, etc., etc. And that never really happened. When I spoke to my brother, he had said that he would pay me to do that. But at the same time, I'm not one who charges the church for my services. I've always grown up in a church where I give back because of the talent I have and what the talent has done for me. And I'm like, let me give that back to the church. Anyway, so I came back and didn't really get to start teaching people, didn't really get any payment from it and stuff. So I did what I do best, started looking around for schools that I can go and teach at, or private clients that I can start teaching and charging and making, making some money. So anyway, that journey really did not start, and I began looking for daycare, which are nursery schools, by the way, for other people that define that differently, that I could offer music to and teach their kids this great art and prepare them for life. Amazingly, after a month or so of advertising, going for meetings to different parts of Joburg, I had secured about 7 daycares and would be starting the new year with those guys. So that was 2018. Well, 2017. So I'd be starting with them in January 2018. The timeline, follow me. Right. During that same time, I had been given an email address by a good friend and brother of mine who we call KC. KC is now in the United Kingdom. Amazing gent, amazing wife. She owns Nail It, Lash It, Brown It. He owns a construction company. Anyway, so he gave me this email address and was like, email this person, send them your proposal, tell them what you do, and hopefully you can get into one of their schools. So cool. Took that email address and I emailed this lady, and she did not respond to me. That was like maybe September of 2017, about a month or two after I just arrived, and there was like no response. I did what I did, found the 7-day course. I'm going to start in January. All good, all fresh, all gravy. So coming into 2018, so 2017, there was no response from this person, and I thought, okay, cool. I've got 7-day course. Let me go and work that angle, right? And then came, I think the 8th of January. It was just after my birthday. I got an email from a lady called Miss Musa. And if you follow me, you'll know I've got a very good friend now called Laika. She's in Tsanin. So anyway, she sent me this email and asked if I'd be interested in bringing my program to the school. So the person I had emailed the previous year didn't respond to me, but she sent my email to Miss Musa, who then in January, once they opened schools, saw the email and responded to me and said, look, if you're still interested, you can come and give your lessons at our school. Mind you, when I sent the email to the lady, I had specifically said, I'm in Johannesburg, because I was staying with my brother at the time. So could you give me a school that's one of your cluster schools that's in Johannesburg? So I got this email from Miss Musa. Would you be interested? I jumped. I'd be interested. Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited. And I'm sending, messages to my brothers, to my mother, that, hey, look, door has opened. I'm going to go to Spark Line Dock. Right. After some hours have passed on, I've sent this message to Miss Musa and everything is set. And yeah, we then set a meeting date as well. So I jumped on the Uber app and here I am trying to put in Spark Line Dock. And I'm seeing this crazy amount. Like, what the heck, And when I did more research on it, I found that Line Dock was in Cape Town. Whoa. Cape Town is a 2-hour flight from Joburg. It's a 12 to 13 hour drive. So that just tells you how far it is. Anyway, continuing with the story. My brother had come running downstairs to me as he heard me shout for joy when I received that email. But by the time he came to the lounge, he found me sitting with my head in my laps. And after telling him the whole story, he suggested that I decline it because I didn't know anyone in Cape Town, right? Had I been to Cape Town before? I had actually never been to Cape Town, just putting it out there. How could I up and move cities to restart my business and have nowhere to stay? Not know anyone and expect to succeed were his words, right? These were all very valid points. And when I look at it now, I definitely won't argue with anyone who calls me crazy. I will agree with you 110%, because after all he said, I still jumped into a plane and left for Cape Town. Anyway, wow. I called my mom and also told her about this new opportunity and decided to use some of the little money that I still had and flew to see my parents in Zim. Whilst I was home, I was chatting to one of my good friends who later was one of the 2 best men at my wedding, Andrew. And he was telling me how he had just moved to Cape Town and had a 2-bedroom apartment. Immediately, I asked if I could crash at his place for a few days whilst I did some advertising and seeing how things would go with this new client. He agreed, and to cut the story short, I used my last coins to buy an air ticket to Cape Town, right? That's how I landed with 350 Rand in Cape Town. My birthday was a few days earlier, like I said, and my brother had given me this beautiful electric acoustic guitar. And my travel kit that week was the guitar, 1 suitcase, and 1 old HP laptop. I arrived at the Cape Town airport and got into an Uber that was to take me at Andrew's place. And guess what? The Uber went a totally different direction. And I wouldn't have known. Remember, I'd never been to Cape Town. First time. The Uber guy went the opposite direction to where we were supposed to go, and we only realized it after about 30-45 minutes that, look, we're supposed to go that other way. And he already had charged me, so he asked me to put in a different address or whatever it is that was close to Andrew's place. And yeah, the story continues. So the 350 I had on me had gone down to less than 150 Rand by the time I arrived at Andrew's place. So yeah, that was not sweet at all. The next day I couldn't use an Uber to go to the meeting. So I decided to jump onto a train. First time getting on a train as well. Crazy, right? Um, you're in a place you've never been before. You are going on a train that you've never actually jumped on before, going to a place you've never seen before, going to meet someone you've never met before. Crazy, calculated stupidity. But anyway, yeah, so hopped onto a train, going to a place I'd never gone to before, to an area that also wasn't the safest. This I learned later. Um, Carrying my one guitar, wearing the one suit I had, but with the greatest confidence, brightest smile, and with the highest expectancy one could ever have. When I arrived at the school, I was greeted by the most colored of colored accents that I'd never heard before. I was truly in Kapstad. That's Cape Town, right? However, this accent was coupled with the brightest smile ever, and this young lady introduced herself as Jackie, who also later became a very good friend of mine. About 3 minutes later, walked in this lady with a quick step and also with a bright smile, and I might just add, with a high pitched voice. Hi there, Ty. Anyway, yeah, that was like, welcome to Spark, she said. In my head, I'd asked myself if everyone here had some sort of happy juice because, wow, it was smiles and laughter all around, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Like, all the teachers were just like happy. The kids were like running around, fully excited. Who is that excited for school? But anyway, um, yeah, beautiful memories. Anyway, Laika took me to what looked like a library, and we had our first meeting, and during it we both got goosebumps. She was saying that she really was looking for a music program for her kids, and Laika is also musically inclined. So it was just one of the bestest ever meetings that I've had regarding like a new client. And it was just amazing. It was just amazing. So yeah, she took me to what looked like a library, first meeting there, and during that we both got goosebumps as we spoke about the program and how to be a great fit for the school. At that moment, with those goosebumps I had felt, with those joyous smiles I had seen, I knew that this was meant to be. The levels of excitement in my spirit skyrocketed, and as I gave like a copy of my flyer that I'd put together on the airplane to Cape Town, hustler, I knew that this was the beginning of what was an amazing journey in South Africa. That evening, I got back to Andrew and told him all about this God moment, I called it. And the excitement from both of us sealed the deal of me being in Cape Town. That same week, I started getting inquiries from the parents about the program. And as they started paying, I was able to buy my first few guitars and keyboards to use at the school for classes. That Uber ride I had taken from the airport was the last airport run I did for some months. As Treble Clef took off, with over 40 parents signing up within the first month of classes, and I finally got enough money to eventually move from Andrew's place to one of my own, which is a whole other story on its own. It involves another friend of mine called Carl, who I stayed with, and Carl and I come from Namibia. Well, met in Namibia, but we both come from the same city in Zimbabwe. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's another story I'll talk about another day. But yeah, having the courage to stand up and do something doesn't always come easy. Doesn't always come easy. Sometimes it's a hard decision that will need you to have someone cheer you on. And even so, the fear of the unknown can still hold you back and make you miss out on what could be the best journey of your life. So when I look at it like that, I'm like, what if I had taken my brother's advice at the time and declined the offer, and never gone to Cape Town and stayed in Joburg? It could have been a different and beautiful journey. You never know, As like now I'm back in Joburg, and that's my main city of business. But Cape Town still taught me so much. It taught me faith, it taught me trust, it taught me how to believe in myself and how to run the race and how to do things in a certain kind of way, and I term it excellence, and yeah, just the trust factor in God. Who goes to a whole city with 350 rand and succeeds, And also, the word says your steps are ordered, the steps of the righteous are ordered. Andrew got this amazing scholarship to get there. He gets there with a 2-bedroom apartment, didn't need the other room. God, like, literally was just playing chess and putting pieces together. Got there. I had a room to stay with. When I moved out from Andrew's place, stayed with Carl, who was also in Cape Town, and we knew each other from Namibia. And then from there, I managed to find my own place. Like, God took all these little steps and put these pieces together, and it just created this beautiful story, you know. So yeah, courage is something that you can be born with, but it's also something you can build. It's being scared, it's being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. The greatest enemy of courage is fear. And the brave person is not the one who doesn't feel afraid, but it's the one who feels afraid and conquers that fear. Sometimes we have to look at fear in the face and go anyway. I'm not saying make dumb decisions and run into a fire that will kill you, but in most cases, the paths that you're afraid to take may lead to the journey that will change your life forever. And the reason why we then don't get on these journeys sometimes, it's because in our lives, we always opted for the lane that had the least test of courage, the least test of faith. Our thirst for comfortability has become our vice. It's because that one thing that has deterred us from enjoying everything it's become that one thing that has deterred us from enjoying everything that's on the other side of fear. Also, I'm not saying that every courageous turn you take will land in fulfilled dreams. No. I'm saying the more you overcome challenges or things you're afraid of, the easier it will be to do so when the bigger decisions come to knock at your door. You will never jump off a cliff if you've never jumped off a chair, So sometimes the cliffs of life, which will be your greatest breakthrough, they'll come through for you, but because when the opportunities for you to jump off a chair came and you didn't take them, you ain't gonna jump off no cliff. You ain't gonna jump off no cliff, So I always say to people, like, take the small risk. It's teaching you how to be comfortable when the bigger risk comes into play. And sometimes when you lose from these risks that you take, it doesn't make you immune from the pain of losing, but you are able to pick yourself up quicker, When I left Namibia, I had to close down the business, and things didn't go so well when I got on stage, like immediately when I got there. But I got to a point where I was like, you know what, let me get up, boom. And I started the academy in the States, and I had clients. I had a few clients. I would go to schools in cities I didn't even know about, jump on the train, on the bus, not the train, yeah, the train, I would do the train as well, and on the bus and go for meetings with people. And before I left, like, there was some schools that were interested, in starting the program. Same thing happened when I came to Joburg, no academy, but I got up, had 7 daycares, moved to Cape Town, had 1 school. Today we're looking at over 21 schools and like 6 or 7 lifestyle estates, online classes, etc. Things grow, but it takes that courage. It takes you being able to take certain leaps. And the only way you take certain leaps or big cliff jumps is if you jump off the table, if you jump off the chair and you see that, oh, I landed. The more you do it, you're like, I can do this. Sometimes you'll jump off and you'll get a few bruises, but you'll get up and you'll do it again. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, courage is something anyone can build within themselves. Yes, it may take you having a circle of people or a person around you that can hold your hand the first few times, but it's solely up to you to tell yourself all the time that you can do this, that you're capable of doing whatever you can put your mind to do, and nothing can stop you because you are determined and hungry for victory. Developing courage is an internal battle that needs continuous self-talk and encouragement. However, self-talk will only be that. It will only be self-talk unless you put yourself to the test and be intentional about overcoming your fears. List 6 things you're super afraid to do and cross out one of those every month. In 6 months, you'll be so proud of your achievement, and you'll be a little bit more surprised at how you'd have probably done more than 6 things that you would have listed. And probably some of those 6 things you'd have done them twice over. Don't let your fear be your Achilles heel. Develop that courage using small things, and by the time a huge opportunity comes your way that needs you to draw the courage in, you'll be ready, or at least in a better position to attempt it than before. So guys, today that was our little story time talking about courage, which is the ability to do something that breeds mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. Something that I also call calculated stupidity. And that's it from me. Have a good one, fam. Peace.